Maybe to you unknown, but you can call me Mr. X-rays, for I radiate, and my light of beauty brings out the invisible. That is my makeup, the who I am. I am the definition of safety, of the seen in the unseen, the savior of the motionless to unveil the hidden, the grand enemy of conquest, the well-being. I am the ambassador of the well-being of the futures. Now the only hope of the embassy is to curb drug trafficking, for I champion the cause of unveiling what is hidden to the naked eyes electronically. It's like a tale of magical. I see within without cutting. What a puzzle. Now to you it might be a marvel, but I am the radiographer, making the invisible visible. Now I am the eyes that glows to unravel the hidden. The song of the many, when the search of the hidden begins. Now I am the radiographer. Maybe to you, you might not even recognize who I am. But I am the radiographer. So they say, who am I, and question my impact of the multitude. I am the race, who never competes any race, for I am an ace. I am the radiographer, making the invisible visible. Thank you.
My name is Lily Kwakupom, PRO of the Ghana Society of Radiographers. It's been good mostly. We've had challenges. There are things that we need helping with to make the profession stand out and to contribute more towards healthcare in Ghana. So we are here today to celebrate 124 years, to acknowledge how far we've come and how much further we can go. So currently, for qualified radiographers, we are looking about 300 qualified radiographers in Ghana currently. Yes, so currently, as at now, we are in deficit. The demand is high, the supply is low. So we would encourage that stakeholders would invest more into training more radiographers to remove the unqualified people who are practicing, especially in the hinterlands. When it comes to the major cities, you see a lot of radiographers manning the machines, but when you travel up north to Upper East, Upper West, and the northern regions in particular, we see that there's a very low number of radiographers there to offer quality healthcare to patients. Currently, what and some of the health institutions have done, especially the University of Ghana and the School of Allied Health Sciences, they've come together with the Allied Health Profession Council and then the Ghana Society of Radiographers and other stakeholders to be able to post some interns to places where we think are very deficient in having radiological services. So that has helped in a little way to mitigate the lack of radiographers. Now, for a long-term solution, we need more radiographers to be trained. That means more health institutions and more funds need to be pushed into that agenda so that we can get more qualified radiographers. And of course, incentives for people who travel out of the major cities to provide healthcare to the more needed or the more needful patients who are outside the major cities. There's no education and awareness about the program in the first place. Usually when you talk to a lot of first years or SS graduates, they have very little knowledge about healthcare courses, especially radiography. When it comes to allied health professions, there's very little education and awareness that have been created. So if you do a more of career counseling, education, awareness, telling people that these are alternatives or these are good professions that you can actually go into, then it can encourage the young people to venture into those fields. And then we also have to dispel the myths, saying that if you practice radiography, you'll be infertile or you get cancer. They are occupational hazards, but those ones are well looked after so that you are safe when you're practicing in a radiation area. If you're doing ultrasound, any kind of service you are giving to a patient, you're safe as well, you're protected. So I think if like I said, education, incentives, awareness, and of course financial support, so that more universities can provide, more educational institutions can provide these courses for students so that they can offer them. They should learn hard. They should try to, associate themselves with mentors, people who have practiced radiography for a while, and then they shouldn't get involved in helping in the training of quacks, because what happens is that it's professionals who train these quacks who are able to do these examinations, even though they are not qualified for it. So I will encourage them to be dedicated to their studies, and once they get into the profession, they should practice good professional conduct, ethical conduct, to move the profession forward.
My name is Prince Roxon, the National President of Ghana Society of Radiographers. Yeah, today we have met to commemorate the 124 World Radiography Day. And Ghana, so far, radiography, which is the professional grouping that uses radiation and non-ionizing radiation to visualize human structures within the body for diagnosis and treatment. And we use the same x-rays to do treatment of cancer, have had a lot of revolution. Things have improved so far. When you cast your mind back when we were doing x-rays and drying films outside, now the technological advancement that has come, we are able to do the thing and you have your report instantly. We have modern ultrasound equipment that have come into place, even with what Ghana Health Service has done in collaboration with the TB control program. We've deployed a lot of digital x-ray equipment to the local areas where they can detect TB conditions as well. And if you look at education-wise, we used to have x-ray training program, which was a certificate program. And the government of Ghana those days brought the degree, which is the allied health. And now we have progressed to the first degree. Now we have moved into the second degree, and God willing, we are doing the third degree, which is the PhD, which is the advancement that have been made to in tune with global trend and the new equipment that are coming. We need to be abreast with some of these things. And looking at the sustainable development goal, health for all, radiographers are playing a very key role in that SDG, of which His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is the ambassador. We are also really supporting that. And some of the challenges that we are facing now, before that, I have to take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Kweku Agyeman-Manu, and his Chief Director, and the chairman of the Council of State, Nana Serebo II. Last year, we were crying that we're supposed to have a regulatory body. The board that will regulate us should be constituted, and God willing, having a listening president, we've been able to have the board that can now regulate our activities. And so we are just looking up to their activities to be on board now, because we have a lot of unqualified people in the country, and these people are posing threats to the life of our people. The theme that we chose today is an international theme, that our safety, our priority. The safety of my patient is my priority. So we are looking at what are some of the best measures that we can take, and then make sure that my mother in the village can have best radiological services. And that is what we are drumming home now, that the Health Facility Regulatory Authority and the Allied Health Professions Council should come together, now that the board is in place, to make sure these health facilities that have unqualified people should be sacked. Now you can see the number of students that the various universities are coming out with. UCC is producing a lot, KNUST, University of Health and Allied Sciences, their private universities also coming. The Ministry of Health have had a long-term gap that we need to build and break that gap by introducing the diploma program, which will also train the lower cadres into the system. Then why then do we use unqualified people in the facility for the safety of our patients to be compromised? Now we are saying that the numbers are in. Let all those private facilities not go for money and think that they want cheap labor, and then it affects the livelihood of our patient. The x-rays that we don't see does not mean it doesn't have effects. They have serious detrimental effects. But because we are not seeing it, people try to do anything. But this time around, the law and the way the profession is growing, we are red alert to make sure that these facilities will not have it easy using unqualified people. We want to assure our mothers, our fathers, our pregnant mothers that look, the ultrasound that we are going to be doing for you, they should be safe. We are going to sack those people who are giving you the wrong diagnosis and saying that you have ectopic, you go and open up a patient and there's no ectopic. It is not right. So we are going to make sure all these things will be a thing of the past. How can these people have the best practices? It's through training. Now, when you look at the various universities, how many lecturers do we have to beef up this thing? It's a problem. The human resource capacity for training is limited. So we are appealing to government. The GET Fund should be made available. University of Health and Allied Sciences, which is organizing a PhD program, they can have local sponsorship so that people can go there and do the PhD, and then we use them. The essence of the Allied Health that came in, his former president, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, President Kufuor, he brought the Allied Health. He realized that the people moving to outside for training was so expensive. So let us have the training in Ghana so that the cost will be less and we'll have a lot of people to be trained. Now Kufuor's vision that of doing that is what we are benefiting now. Other than that, then you have to train 2 people every 2 years, and then now we have PhD in Ghana. Why can't the ministry GET Fund provide those scholarship availability for students who want to do the PhD, and then they come out to become lecturers and teach properly to our radiographers, and we have seasoned radiographers, and then we move to the next stage in our academic life. We started that when the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service in particular, wanted to bring in a group of people who are not trained by the Allied Health law, the biomedical engineers, to work as radiographers. We took this case up and we were going to court. And fortunately, the Minister of Health called us and put a halt to it. And we want to give thanks to the minister. We know that once we have leaders who are listening, we'll keep a red alert. These quacks in the system, this year, we've been able to send radiographers for internship to the hinterlands, and we've monitored them. So wherever there are quacks, we try to put a radiographer there for internship. It means that eventually that quack is going up. So that is what the university is collaborating with the professional body and the Allied Health Professions Council to keep an eye, because we go and supervise them. So to keep an eye on facilities where we have quacks. Once that is reported, there is a committee called the Profession Specific Committee of every professional group. They are the eye of the society. They tell us there are people here who are not qualified, and then we report to the Allied Health Professions Council. The laws are there, and fortunately, the leader is listening. And once we want to go by the law, everybody stops it. The challenges that we have now is accommodation. You know, these are radiographers who have come out and they just started. They are not taking any salary, and the ministry is not helping them to secure an accommodation to start up life. Somebody who just completed the university, he said you go and rent a place, but other professional groups are being given some favoritism, which we felt is not good. So this year, like this, the society had to even give those who were going for their internship transport allowance for them to travel to those places. They go there and they are not giving them accommodation, and that is one of the problems that is really frustrating. I worked in Sunyani Regional Hospital. When I went there, the medical director gave me accommodation. I was happy to work there, and leaving there to my next station, I wasn't happy to move, because I was treated as part of the team. But when you begin to segregate, this is better than this, that is where the teamwork doesn't come in. So that's one of our biggest challenge. But if government can look at accommodation as a rural incentive for radiographers or other allied health professionals, I think this issue of quackery will be put into bed.